Jen Yates. I'm a huge fan. I love your work. You're just, refreshing. And I think you got skills, shorty. The game of
That's my
bouncing
bib.
yet again.
We get it,
I do my head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Drop a trailer on 'em. Not trying to cause a big sensation. My generation. I'm just talking about my.
We get it, H to the I to the L, L, B to the I to the L, L, Y. Sing it. Sing it.
They just say I'm not the baddest bitch you like.
You gotta love that, don't you, Marjorie? We out here getting loose. It's Jyneration Nation on LRS102.com. You're locked on to the Walrus. Happy Thursday to you. I am Jen Yates, broadcasting live from 816 East Broadway, the Launch Louisville Studios. And I am so thankful I have Miss Marjorie Marshall with me in the studio today. How are you doing, Miss Margie?
I'm doing great, fabulous.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I've seen you, 2 days in a row?
2 days in a row.
2 days in a row, you
girlfriend.
gonna get sick of seeing me?
No, I don't think so.
Good. Because
Good.
I am very honored to get to play with you at She Castle.
Yes, this is going to be a fabulous event.
Yes, it is. And I have to start by saying that I was not familiar with you before the She Castle event. This is one thing I love about this event.
Right.
And by the way, LRS 102 just signed on to be sponsors of She Castle. We're going to be
Awesome.
broadcasting live from She Castle.
All right now.
And we want to tell our listeners that if you come Sunday from 2, I think they are going to be doing it from 4 to 6 p.m., you can register to win free tickets to LRS Fest this year.
Wonderful.
They're going to be giving away 4 tickets.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So I was not familiar with you. Elaine Hartwick, who is co-producing this event with me, picked you as one of the singers.
Yes.
And then we've just had the funnest time
Yes,
in
we have.
rehearsals. It has been a blast. So I am very honored and grateful to get to play with you.
Well,
Yeah. I want to start by you telling our listeners a little bit about yourself and your music background, because I know you do a lot of other things, and we're going to try to hit that today.
Okay.
But let's start with the music. How did you get into music?
Back in 1994, I began to record with Lamont Butler, who is the son of the one and only Cliff Butler of Louisville, Kentucky royalty music fame.
Yeah.
He was a DJ on WLOU.
Cool.
When William Summers III started WLOU, and Cliff Butler was a blues singer. He was a minister of the House of Truth Church
All
down
right.
here on 40th and Broadway, and he had a recording studio in the church, and his son Lamont heard me sing one time and invited me to come in to sing with a group that he had, which was called the Spirit of Truth. It was 5 guys, and I was the only female.
Yeah.
And we did gospel harmonies and
I
just,
love that.
yeah, rocked it out.
I love some gospel.
Oh, what you talking about is the basis of everything.
It is. It's the base of everything.
Of
yes.
everything. Any genre that you go to will have some kind of gospel background to it. Even
Yeah.
rock and roll, everything.
Yeah,
is
it really
rooted
does.
in the old field songs and just bluegrass. Hey, the whole 9 yards.
Well,
So-
I was rooted in that too. I had a lot of bluegrass players in my family. And, of course, we went to church, and I sang in the church choir, and they moved me to handbells and all that. There wasn't drums in my church, believe it or not. I wish there had been.
Oh yeah, you'd have been more awesome than you are now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
You're
I-
awesome.
Thank you.
Yes,
my
fabulous.
daddy put me on a drum set when I was a really wee kid. He was a drummer, and my mom was carrying me in the womb to his gigs and stuff like that. So as soon as I came out of the birth channel, basically, I had a pair of drumsticks in my hand.
Go on, girl.
And I've never stopped.
Go on, girl.
And there's been many times where I've almost given it up, just especially lately. And I'm glad I haven't, because things like this event, She Castle, make me very grateful and thankful I haven't given it up.
Absolutely.
But I got injured back in October and really hurt my arm really bad, and I've got some nerve damage, and I have loss of feeling in my left arm and some of my right now. So
Wow.
I've been, because of that, when I hit that snare drum and you get that vibration off of that drum, I mean, it can be like getting cattle prodded sometimes, you know, or if I move my neck a certain way. I get this like big time shock. So because of that and the physicality of playing drums and loading them in and setting them up and tearing them down and taking them home, you know, it's done a lot of wear and tear on my body. And I pushed my body back in the day a lot. I mean, there would be times I would play 5 gigs in one day, and I added it up. It was like 14 hours of playing in a 24-hour time period.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's a lot.
yeah, and then I was on tour with Kelly Ritchie, and we toured the United States and Canada, and I did 170 shows within 9 months with her. And sometimes there would be 9 shows a week, you know. So I really pushed myself, and her show was real high energy and real tiring. I mean, sometimes we were playing 3 or 4 hour gigs, you know. Sometimes we get lucky and get a 45-minute set, but other times not so lucky. So I've really pushed my body to do things that, you know, that it probably shouldn't have done.
Bless your heart.
Yeah. So me playing this event has been very therapeutic.
I'm sure, honey, the way you go at it, you do therapy.
I know. I try to give that therapy back to everybody else too,
Oh,
because I
yes.
feel like as musicians, that's what we're doing. Especially you. You're out front, the lead singer. You know,
Right.
you're trying to give some sort of, you're taking it from the crowd and you're
Right.
giving it back to the crowd,
Absolutely.
and you're trying to make them happy or feel some sort of emotion or dance or whatever it is.
Call and response.
Call and response.
That's what it's.
yeah.
That's the reason I say all the music comes from the old field songs, the gospel music, because it's about a call and response. Your audience gravitates to whatever it is that's happening on stage, and according, again, if it's high energy or even slow tunes, it's what you put into it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's what you get back.
Yeah, and you know I know you didn't know my Beverly McClellan, who I call my musical soulmate. We were never partners, but we just met up, and then we had this magical friendship. We wrote together. It was a creative spark. We loved to play off of each other, and she was just amazing. Everything she did was amazing. Her background was gospel.
Yes. Okay.
She grew up playing in the church. She played piano amazing. She grew up playing piano in the church with her grandmother.
Yes, yes.
And she taught her pretty much everything she knew.
Yes.
And she didn't want to be a big star or anything like that.
No, music is a part of your soul.
Right.
I think music is the great equalizer for everything, actually, because
It really is.
like you say, it's therapeutic. It inspires you. Sometimes
does.
it motivates you. Other times it allows you to heal.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of levels that speak to our inner spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear you on that. Well, and I've definitely lived that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm never married, no kids, so I've only ever pursued music my entire life. You know, other than I've done other things like media and such, but
Right.
but yeah, that's been my main thing.
Yes,
You
and
know,
I've always wanted to, since I was early. I have 2 daughters. My
Yeah.
2 daughters was the only reason I didn't leave Louisville when I was about 15. And of course, I raised my brother. Our mother died when I was around 11. So entertainment was always in my bones because, of course, growing up, all we had to do was watch television.
right?
And from Ed Sullivan to Dick Clark and to all of the
And
other
they were
things.
they were breaking all the best musicians back then. Yeah.
Right. Back in the day, like you say, the church was actually all in the Native Black American community was the nucleus of everything, and music is such an integral part of the church community that it was kind of hard not to like it. Yeah, because
Exactly,
again,
yeah.
it inspires you and gets you involved.
Yeah.
So
So you stayed
I've
in Louisville
always-
then. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I've traveled all over the world, been over in Europe and did a lot of things, and it's wonderful. I love to travel, but there's no place like home. Kentucky has its own special aura and its own special structure that, again, works for me, and it's laid back enough and just enough of the city to offer you a little excitement here and there, but you don't have to get bogged down with it, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to get bogged down with it. So it's I love our town.
Yeah, I love Louisville too. I've experienced lots of good and lots of bad here.
Oh yeah, anywhere
And-
you go in life.
Right,
That's
I agree,
life.
and
That's
it's
the
kind of,
reality.
and I have learned that it's how you look at it, your
Absolutely.
perspective.
Of counseling. It's
And
just a learning experience.
Yes,
Anything that we go through that's not so good is teaching us how, again, to navigate the bad just like you do the good, because the good allows us just to say, oh, everything's hunky-dory.
yeah.
With
If
the
it was
bad,
good all the time,
oh,
it would
baby,
just,
we'd be
yeah.
sick of it.
Yeah, we'd be sick of it. Exactly right.
Because we'd be bored. That's what everybody. I'm bored. Well, how do you be bored?
You know what my theory is? I always say, well, only boring people get bored.
What you said.
Because if you can entertain yourself, which I could stand out here and talk to a brick wall and have
Yes.
fun. I mean,
Yes, I
that's just me. I could
know.
dance around and
Right.
just. I got a little song playing in my head at all times. So if I'm bored, something is wrong.
Something is wrong.
Yeah.
Something is
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, I wanted to tell you a little bit about my background. I came to Louisville at age 21. Mm-hmm. I have zero family here. So I have stayed here for 21 years without any family. But the
Wow.
community has adopted me.
Of course.
And the musicians adopted me. The LGBT community, which I'm really, I really try to support and make a stance and stand out for that, because I've been out since I was 17 years old.
Okay.
But also people like Elaine Hartwick. I mean, I call her my den mama.
I know.
Because she really, out of everybody I knew, was like one of the ones that was always like, don't give up, don't do this. Let's take the bad and then let's create this, and I'd be crying to her about Beverly McClellan, and she'd be crying to me about, losing her friend, and we would just be talking, and and then all of a sudden, boom, we get something like She Castle,
Yes,
and
it's fabulous.
I love women who are progressive in
Oh, yes.
society and don't just sit around and let a man take care of them. You know what I mean?
Well, the first thing that I think as females, we get acclimated to or socialized to think we have to be dependent upon someone.
Right.
And because it's taught from an early age that women need a man to nurture and to create structure. And of course, if family life, and most females are taught from a very, very early age that we are to produce children and have a family and have a house with the white picket fence and the 2-car garage and all
Right.
of that kind of thing. But of course, some of us are born with the innate experience of being individualistic.
Amen to
And
that.
see, if you come here knowing yourself, it's been said that we only know what someone else teaches us, but I think the universe blesses many of us with that innate, just automatic knowledge of
Yeah.
self. And if you gravitate to that and question the status quo, then your individuality becomes more of your mentor than anything.
Yeah.
And like you said, once you know yourself and you get comfortable and you say, well, hey, I like me. I don't care whether
Right.
someone else likes
Correct.
me.
Yeah.
I don't have to wear a certain style. I don't have to be a certain way in order to accept me. So I think it's great that even before women's suffrage, even before women got the right to vote, we had that right
Which wasn't
already.
that long ago,
It
by the
wasn't
way.
that long ago. Absolutely.
I try to remind people of that.
The
It's-
last 50 years, if you look at it for what it is, our civil rights have always been in question.
Yeah.
We still maintain our liberty, but you have
I mean,
to
we're
stand up for
still
yourself.
discriminated against, but I think now more than ever, we're really coming out.
Well,
finally.
Yeah, well, Donna Ross made this, I'm coming out.
Yeah.
So what did that really mean? That
Yeah.
meant that, again, I like being me.
Yeah.
I like thinking the way that I think. I like doing the things that I do. And don't get me wrong, I don't condone or condemn anyone's lifestyle because
Right.
it's a personal choice.
Right, and you're
I
not
don't think-
supposed to judge. That's the number one rule.
Not supposed to, you cannot.
Yeah, you can't
Because
judge.
when you judge other people, you're judging yourself. How can you point your finger at anyone for being who they are?
Right.
And like you say, what is the universal law for, and I think, like I said, it's personal. It's an
Yeah,
individual.
it
And
is.
if you can, in the face of any adversity, if you can stand for you
Mm-hmm.
and those that you love and you trust and believe in, then who is anyone to give you a problem? You understand? They need to
Right.
back on up and monitor, and like they say, sweep around your own front door
Yeah.
before you try to sweep around mine.
I agree, and
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, my background has led to lots of judgment in
Oh,
my
of
day.
course.
In my day, I mean, my small town wasn't very accepting. I mean, they are now, but they weren't then. And I came to Louisville, and we're like, hey, there are people just like me here.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean? So I could relate.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and then.
Everywhere.
Last year, I was going through a lot of downtime where, I had these former band members telling me that I was just this horrible person, and, they didn't like the way that I thought. They didn't like the way that I did things, and, it just crushed me. But eventually, I got away from that, and I was like, you know what? I don't care what they think anymore. I don't care if they like me. If you don't like me, I really don't care anymore because I love myself and I know that I'm a good person and I know I do good things and I know I believe in God.
Hallelujah.
And I know that I talk to Spirit every day and say, lead the way, show me what I'm supposed to do. I always say, I wake up every morning and I always say, God, what is it you would like for me to do for you today?
Well, that's wonderful, and he tells you, and so
And
that's
he
again
does.
why he created us for his purpose, for his reasoning. So I've never, and again, like you say, it's more pronounced now because people have gotten comfortable in their own skins, and nobody had to come out
Right.
of anybody's closet.
Right.
You understand, and it was condemned simply because people did not want to understand that someone was different than what we've been socialized to think that we
Right.
are. But the Lord didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't make you.
Right. We
for
don't want to
you-
be the same. We
Yeah.
don't want to be the same as
He
everybody
didn't want you to be
else.
the same. All he wanted us to do was love one another.
Yeah, I
Period.
agree with
In
that.
spite of our differences.
I agree with
in
that.
spite of how we may think or
Mm-hmm.
where we live. It's not about all of that. It's about us accepting one another on a level, equal playing ground, and being glad that we can. So,
Amen.
when we become like you
I
say,
feel like I've gone to church this morning
well, we
already.
always at church,
All right,
girl.
yay.
Praise the Lord.
It always
Yeah,
goes
you
back to
don't
church,
stop.
don't
Yeah.
it?
No, it don't
I
never
love
stop.
it.
Because your spirit self is your real self. See, it's
Yeah.
not what people see on the inside. It's not how you dress,
Yeah.
how you wear your hair. It's what you are on the inside. What is your heart? Like if you, on a daily basis, as you said, get up and say, Lord, what do you want me to do for you today? So that means that you understand your purpose is serving. And serving for what purpose?
Right.
That people understand real love is unconditional. The Lord is the only one that can really love unconditionally. We sit
Back
there's
and judge
boundaries.
sometimes.
We
Yeah.
set boundaries.
Yeah.
And specifics on people. Not for us to do.
Yeah.
That's why back in 2012 I worked with Youth Detention Center, and it was an eye-opening experience to see young people so caught up in a system of self-doubt
I bet.
and low self-esteem to whereas when you begin to criminalize yourself because society has in its structure laid down boundaries that say, well, if you do this and you do that, and believe me, I am not condoning anything that's wrong.
Right.
But certain things are set up in order that you fail. We're set up to fail theoretically simply because our human values have brought itself into question because of the ways of the world. But again, that's our reality. So what do we have to do about it? We have to, it says you shall know the truth and the truth will set you free. So how
Yes.
do you get to the truth? You have to go through life experiences. You have to find out what is right and what is wrong and why is it wrong? And then what can you do about to make it right? Because like you say, if you are conditioned to love and to serve with no precepts of why you're doing it, you just do it because it's the right thing to do, then you want everyone else, like you say, to say, hey, we grew up thinking that everybody thinks the same way
Yeah.
because we're taught that love your neighbor as yourself, love everybody.
Right. But everybody thinks different.
But
you know?
everybody thinks different,
Yeah.
and that's a good thing too. I'm not saying that we should be cast in any mold,
Right.
But we also should not. We should be open for change and to change because the difference is what makes us unique.
I
And
agree.
in our uniqueness, we're allowed to learn and share together. Whereby if we were all like, we're not robots.
Yeah.
We were not created to be robots.
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's what makes America so cool.
it makes it really cool. And so in these days and times, it's very important that in our communities, we come together for the sole purpose of understanding.
Yeah.
And conditioning ourselves to teach ourselves to treat one another the way we want to be treated. So back in 2012, when I was at the Youth Detention Center, a couple of my coworkers came to me, and we were all out of a percentage of the individuals that worked there. I'd say about 15 to 20% of us were all musicians, had been into the field of music forever, you know. So they came to me and they said, we have this song, and we've got a title and we've got a melody, but we don't have any lyrics. And we want to see if you, because they knew I liked to write and I was a lyricist.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
and
We're
so-
going to do a track together then, because I got a solo record coming out.
All right, great.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Keep going, though. Keep
yeah,
going.
yeah. And I've got one out because, again, I wrote the lyrics, and the title of the tune was, "There is no deeper love for a woman than another woman's love." And I go,
That's true.
really? And it is very true.
It is true, because
It's
women
ve-
have the emotions. You know what I mean?
But we're also, a man told me last Sunday, he said, women, let me get it straight.
Yeah.
Men adjust, women adapt. And it was so profound.
That is
because
profound.
It's very profound because women will do whatever it takes to get it right. And
Yeah.
especially, like you say, for one another. If we have children, we're
It takes a
bears.
village.
It
That's
takes a
right.
village.
It
And
takes
like I
a
say,
village.
a woman, go to hell and back for a child, or her man.
Yeah.
So when we wrote this tune, I told him, I said, well, I have a lot of friends that are gay. I have friends that are lesbian and whatever. I said, they're my friends. I don't, hey, do you? Because
Right.
when City Lights, when you came in 21 years ago, City
Yeah.
Lights was still around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we would go after work and we go to City Lights and we jam and we go to Connection, and I was like mesmerized.
The Connection was the first gay club I ever was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
so I'm like, hey,
I love a drag queen now.
Ooh.
I love me a drag
girl,
queen.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the is going on around here, right?
Right, yeah.
But my thing is that, and I told him, I said, so I can't tell you from a personal stance about how I'm going to write lyrics for this tune and this melody that you got, but I can approach it from, I know how much I love my mother. I know how much I love my daughters, my aunts, the women in my life that are my very special friends. So I can approach it from that perspective.
Yeah.
So in writing the song, when I wrote it, I'm like, okay. And so it forced me to be in my own reality, to look at how we do love better and more than anyone. So it has no sexual connotation. All it speaks
Right.
to is our reality. And like you said, although we are, quote, emotional creatures, we're much more than that.
Yeah, of course we are.
Yes.
Yes.
But because we are women, that's what is the reasoning behind everything we do, where she's just emotional. No, it's not my emotions, it's
Right.
my reality. So I after they pressed the song, I was like, oh, because then I was like, oh, well, what are people going to think if I...
Here's why I love music, though, on this same topic.
Right.
It's because I've put out multiple records throughout the years in different styles. And I just write my life and what I'm feeling at the time, because I use music as therapy for myself to get things out of me that I cannot express in this physical realm.
Right.
So once I put it out, and I've gotten a lot of flack over the years for certain ones that I've put out, that was a little bit more rowdy than others or something like that. But the cool thing about art and the cool thing about music is you can say anything you want in music as an expression, and then it's up to the listener to take it, and they can relate to it in their own way.
Exactly.
Everybody has a different experience when they
Exactly.
listen to a song. And listening to music is a very intimate experience between the listener and the song, We listen
Absolutely.
to it in our car. You could listen to a song and get one message out of it. I could listen to it and get another message out of it.
Absolutely.
So I try not to let what will people think about this bother me. If
I
that makes
understand.
sense.
I understand. But again,
Because it's therapy to me.
Because it's therapy to you. But at that time, even though I had been singing in the community for years, I was like, well, I don't want to suggest to anyone that I'm pushing anybody's lifestyle or choice. However, when you know how you write something and then you go back and you read it from a different perspective.
Oh, yes.
And you're like, and I go, wow, this is really a neat song, simply because it deals with the whole reality of relationships in general, not just woman to woman, male to male, or however it is. it's love, and real love is unconditional, and it doesn't have anything to do. People don't gravitate to who they gravitate to because of what they look like or who they are. They gravitate to that person because how they treat them, and what the connection, as you say, that they make. So it opened up a whole nother realm of understanding for me.
Good.
And I thought, wow, this
You gotta love music. I mean, music is just so amazing.
Music is my sanctuary. You remember when
Amen.
Donny Hathaway wrote that? Music is my sanctuary.
And music is my sanctuary. Yes, I do.
Yeah, music is my life. So
did you bring the track? Are we going to spin it later on today? Do you have a copy of it?
I'm going to bring it to you tomorrow. I'm going to bring it to you tomorrow.
Is
so
there
you
a
can
copy online anywhere? Because I can get it online too.
I'm not really sure if Ron has one online. I'll have to ask him.
Well, if they've got
when
an
you're gonna
MP3 version, you can just email it to me and we can play it.
Right, because Elaine asked me about that because I wanted to play it Sunday.
Yeah, at She Castle.
At She Castle.
Yeah, we want to remind everybody, Sunday, July 21st, She Castle. And I had my lineup here. It's on the wall. What time are you on, Marjorie?
I'll come on from 3:50 to 4:05.
3:50 to 4:05. Miss Marjorie will be taking the stage with me behind her on drum set.
Rocking them drums.
Yeah, rocking them drums. And we rocked some Great Day Live yesterday with some Take Me to the River.
Oh, baby.
By the way, you picked one of my favorite songs of all time. We're going to actually take a break and spin it because I love Al Green. I always have. I grew up loving a lot of soul music, a lot of R&B, Sam and Dave, all the early rock and roll, Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
My daddy was a rocker, but he introduced me to all that early stuff from a very young age. Spencer Davis Group. I just can't even think of half of them. Ray Charles, I have all of that stuff on vinyl, and I still listen to it today, believe it or not.
Wonderful.
So we're going to rock some Take Me to the River.
Yeah.
It's Al Green. You're locked in to LRS102.com, The Walrus. I'm Jen Yates, joined by Miss Marjorie Marshall. Stick around. We've got her until 4 o'clock. And some Willie Dixon, Backdoor Man. I played that just for you, Miss Marjorie.
All right.
You got to love that. There were a few things that you said in the last segment that I want to touch on. First thing is, when we did the She Castle event, I had been playing Michigan Women's Music Festival, and I'd been the house drummer for a lot of these women music festivals across the country. And I kept going, why can't we do this in Louisville, Kentucky? Because it hadn't been done here. So if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the first women's music festival.
It is.
In the state, probably, is my guess.
Wonderful. Well, I'm glad it came together.
And we're going to do it every year. And you were talking about putting together that all-female band, and I was like, you know what I want to do with That's What She Said, which is what we named the house band, is that it can be a rotating door of any female musician and any female singers. I would like to go out here and get events and gigs as That's what she said, rotate in the singers as they can do it per their schedule. And keep it rolling because it's an awesome idea, and it's a way that you can incorporate every female that plays music in town. That's great. You know what I mean? And we
even
know
those
enough.
that are up and coming, because again, we become mentors because we've been mentored too. Marianne Fisher, who was the first female lead singer with Ray Charles, became my mentor simply because we started an organization back, and it was called the Louisville Association of Music Performers. And one of the musicians passed, did not have insurance, so all of the friends and families and musicians got together, started doing like we're doing She Castle on Sunday.
Perfect.
Started doing benefits in the club, working with other nonprofits, and we had our own Grammy Award show. I mean, baby, it was so hot.
I love that.
Every year in April, because we had best new artist, best, I
love that.
So Marianne was the very first recipient of our Lifetime Achievement Award. So and so from that point, I began to, every time Ray Charles would come anywhere near, I would travel with her. So I met so many wonderful people behind the scenes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, her life story inspired me because, again, had it not been music in her life, she probably would have, like you say, like some people become so despondent that they literally give up and give in to the hype.
We were talking about
and they
depression.
Stop living.
Yeah, I suffer from depression and
they
PTSD.
stop living. And living is like you say, you're the walking dead. You're walking around here, you have no purpose, you have no intent, you don't think anyone cares. And so, and like you say, when you get something that forces you to hold on to your reality, you have to give credence to that. You have to say thank you for allowing me to know that it's something better than what I thought.
Yeah.
And where I was. So, like you say, when we become an inspiration to one another, and women are so resilient in that we, like you say, we like to energize the bunny.
Yeah.
Baby, we keep on ticking.
I know women. You can't hold them down. If you got a strong woman, you cannot hold them down.
You better back up, sucker.
That's exactly right. I agree, and it's
you better
interesting.
Back up.
This is why I love women.
Yeah,
they are so powerful.
Yeah.
They don't even know how powerful they are half the time.
Well.
And another thing I want to touch on.
It in.
Yeah. From the time I was a kid, I never had the dream of, I wanted to be married, have kids, and have the white picket fence. That was never my dream. I wanted to play music and travel the world.
Me
that
too.
was my thing.
Right.
And I was never, ever, ever going to settle for someone else taking care of me. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
I knew that from a very young age. And, I love having a partner, and I'm single right now, but I mean, I love having someone else there to care and help you along the way. But I never needed that, and I wasn't going to settle for what I thought I didn't deserve.
Yeah, thank God we don't have to. Because again, I think even in a relationship, when you're in a relationship, that's so that you can completely be yourself at all times, in all instances. And it's like you say, your partner or your companion or whatever you call them, husband, wife, or a significant other, however you want to crack it up.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? They still have to leave room for your individual self, and you have to still leave room for your individual self. And like you said, music,
you know what my therapist taught me too is that you really never 100% know someone else. You only know what they show you.
That's right.
You really don't know.
No.
But what you want to watch is, what they do in society.
Sure.
Do they do good for the society? Do they only do good for themselves?
Well.
Do they put down people? Or do they uplift them?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
And then you can weed out what's the good and what's the bad. Even though, don't judge the bad, just get away from the bad.
Just get away from it.
That's right.
Because, you say, no, I don't roll like that. That's not how I roll. But that's when we established the Kentucky Music Heritage Foundation, which we established.
Yeah, tell me more about this, because this is fascinating to me.
Yeah, the Kentucky Music Heritage Foundation is a 501c3 that strives, our mission statement is to preserve, promote, and library the historical fact of musicianship and artistry, the liberal arts from all over Kentucky in particular. Years ago, again, when Marianne Fisher became my mentor, we were coming back through Lexington, and we stopped in at what was then the Country Music Hall of Fame down in Winfro Valley.
Yeah.
So when we went in, and the only African American that we saw in the whole exhibit was Lionel Hampton. So we said, so why is this the only, there's other black nationally known artists that hail from Louisville, Kentucky, because, a lot of artists.
Wilson Pickett.
Well,
hello.
come on now.
I could name a few myself.
Come on
that
now.
should be in there.
Yeah, look. So they said, well, who is she? Well, what are they about? So long story short, we developed a relationship with them. So now we have this whole exhibit down there.
Cool.
Yeah, we have a whole we have a whole exhibit down
I'm so proud
up
of
in
you.
Lexington and down in Winfro Valley. And then from there, Marianne lived for a short time where she was born in Henderson, Kentucky, but she lived for a short period of time. She came to Louisville when she was a young child, but then she lived in Russellville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So around 5 years ago, we got what they call August 8th. We got it renamed the Marianne Fisher Blues Festival.
I love that.
Down in Russellville, Kentucky. And down there, they established in the African-American community, they took about 6 row houses and turned them into many museums. So we have 2 museums down there dedicated to Marianne, because
Amazing.
every time Marianne would leave here to go to New York or whatever to record However, during her career, she would always break up her apartment. She would, and around her, she would be pitching her stuff. I said, "Why are you throwing away your stuff?"
Yeah.
She said, "Like, girl, I don't want this. I'm gonna get new stuff." And so I began to grab it and hold on to it. So this is how we came.
And y'all were best friends, right?
Oh God, she was.
And you played
like,
music together?
Oh God, yeah. We were getting. I had convinced her to go into the studio and re-record some of the tunes she did after she left Ray Charles, which are fabulous tunes. If you go on the Sony catalog right now and pull her up, there's some songs over there on there that people don't even know she did. Fabulous.
Wow.
She did some of her best work when she left
Can
Ray
I tell
Charles.
you something? I have found, and we were talking about this on the show yesterday, about the She Castle thing, that, you know, obviously I'm still healing from losing my musical soulmate,
Right.
who passed in October. And then I was left with all this music that we had together, that we wrote together, and all these. We had a project called Hillbilly Swagger.
Yes.
Because we're both from the country, and we both ended up in L.A. being successful in music and all this stuff. And then we met, and it was, you know, she was LGBT, I was LGBT. We had been through the same thing. She understood me, and so I was talking about still healing from that, and that's why the She Castle thing has been so therapeutic. And then, of course, Kemet had just lost Doug, who was her musical partner. Sherry Edwards was in here talking about losing her musical partner. Wow. You're talking about losing your musical partner. Every female involved in this project, it seems, has lost someone very close to their soul who played music or they played music with that was very important in their lives.
Absolutely.
And I think it's so important that, like, that seems to be the main thread going on here. We didn't set it out to be that way. It just, by the grace of God, happened that way.
It's a healing process because, again, what we're doing is so essential to the healing of our community because, again, the condemnation that is, and of course it's better in theory on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
But on the inside looking out, I'm sure it is still very troubling in many instances for individuals who it's personal to.
Yeah.
And see, and society has a way of setting up these guidelines that as long as you stay within a certain area and a certain guideline and do it a certain way, you're cool.
Yeah.
But see, it just as soon as, just like with women, you know, when we start burning our bras, not because they were restrictive.
Right. Oh, I was taking mine off and throwing them
Right,
around. No,
right.
I'm from Adair County, so, you know, we're talking
Right.
2,800, 3,600 people.
Right.
And I was the lone weirdo musician, already out, you know, and proud and just like,
They be like,
wow, you
That
know, I
girl
was the
sick,
rocker.
she crazy,
Yeah,
right?
well, that's what I got labeled as.
Sure.
But really, I was just strong, powerful, and independent.
hey, and
Yeah.
again, which makes you crazy.
Right.
But my friend of mine says,
Crazy
no,
in a
I'm
good
not
way.
crazy. I'm
Right.
insane.
Right.
Because you have to be insane to deal in an insane world.
You're
and
right.
our world is completely insane.
Oh, our world is
because
completely
we operate
insane.
under, in theory, our guideline says that we're for the people, but we're really not.
United
You're for
we stand, divided we fall. The politicians have realized that if they divide us, that we don't have the power they do.
Exactly.
I know what's going on.
Of
I'm
course
awake.
you do.
I'm awake.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you know, and again, because of their, and again.
Right. We don't
it's-
want to get too political.
Yeah,
'cause,
yeah, yeah.
We want to keep it fun.
Yeah, we keep it fun.
Yeah.
But again, you know,
It
how do you do
divides.
that in the midst of them trying to annihilate your rights and your freedom to express yourself
Right.
through music, through your artistry, through who you are?
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, I was told I couldn't even get married until about 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I know. I mean,
And
I have no idea what you've experienced, but I'm sure there's plenty to talk about. You know.
Oh yeah, but my life, like you said, I've been so independent all of my life that I didn't even know I was supposed to be independent because again, I'm thinking
When you're
oh,
independent, you don't think about it. You just
don't think
you
about
just
it.
keep
You just
rocking
do-
your world and doing good
you
things.
just do
You know
what
what I
you
mean?
do.
Yeah, you do what
and
you
I
do.
said, in my brain, I was saying, well, I need to be married. I need to have a husband. But I didn't have to have a husband to have, because with my children, when I realized that my first child, when I said, and I thought I wanted to be married,
Right.
until I said, well, he's not the one. But I couldn't push my baby back.
Well, you know, I would be standing. I'd be down in like Tennessee, Redneckville. All right, this is just from my experience, and I'd be standing next to a woman who'd been married 5 times, and she'd be telling me that I couldn't get married for the first time. You know what I'm saying? So I was experiencing stuff like that. And I was going, you know what? I'm 40 years old and I never needed a husband. And I'm still standing. And look what all I've done. I've traveled the world. And I've had my own place. And I've had this. And I've had great jobs. And, you know, kudos to you. I'm not putting anybody down who wants to get married because I do love a commitment. But I don't think that we need to be living in 2019 thinking that you have to do this and you have to do this for a religion or something like that because it doesn't make any sense.
To condone it, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me.
Jesus himself was single, never married, no kids. FYI.
Well, and again, it's a personal choice.
Of course, we don't know that for sure, but right, yeah,
no.
there's a lot of stories.
It's a spiritual, and again, his story.
Yeah.
His story. And why do we have history? Because it all evolves back into itself.
Mm-hmm.
We are humankind, mankind, womankind. We have specific purposes. When you understand that purpose, you may gravitate to marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You may not. You may gravitate to the sense of family. You may not.
Mm-hmm.
But within all of that, if you still find yourself in that purpose, then that's why you are here.
Right.
So you don't have to gravitate to the laws of man.
Right. And
what we have to
I
adhere
never did.
to.
From the time I was a kid, never,
You can't
ever.
when you're a spiritual soul.
Right.
When you come in here knowing, hey, this was what I was created to do. I always knew.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just because I watched entertainers. It was in my family. My grandfather
You're an entertainer.
My grandfather was a drummer.
Wow.
My father was. It's natural. I grew up listening to women and the men in my family singing, and you know we didn't have music. We didn't have instruments. We were the instruments.
Yeah.
The voice is an instrument.
Yeah. Do you see what's on the wall right there?
Yes.
The voice is an instrument.
The voice is an instrument.
Yeah.
So when people told me, like they told you, that you couldn't play, that you couldn't sing, but I could hear myself, I said, well, that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You might not like the way I sound, but I think I sound pretty cool.
Well, it's funny. The people telling me that weren't even educated in
Exactly.
music. They didn't even know
Isn't that
how to play
crazy?
with the metronome.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So how
Yeah.
are they going to tell you about your musicianship?
Exactly.
So when
But it hurt the soul a little bit. I ain't gonna
of
lie.
course it
but,
does.
But now I'm
that's,
like,
but
you know
again,
what?
that's the adversary trying to create self-doubt and low self-esteem. So, and any
Which
person
was technically them having low self-esteem them having
Exactly.
issues.
Not
They
your
were
problem,
portrayed-
theirs.
Correct. Not my
they try
problem.
to pass it off because they don't know how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So they see her, and you just like yesterday. I'm watching you. I mean, I've seen you do the drums in rehearsal, but
Mm-hmm.
yesterday on Great Day Live, and I mean, I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
girl,
when I'm performing,
how can
I'm
you
an
not?
entertainer.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it to
yes.
you.
And that's
You
what
know.
my girlfriend told me. She said, now some people stand flat-footed and sing, but you're an entertainer.
I know.
So,
By the way, I love it when you threw your jacket off and we're like, wow, take me to the river. Take me to the river. And you threw that jacket off. That was the best thing ever. Hey, listen, we're going to have to take a real short break.
Okay, all
And I
right.
want to remind everybody that I am talking to Marjorie Marshall, who's an awesome singer around town. You've done literally everything. And I
Yes, I
love
have.
your story. You've done so much for women's rights, for civil rights, for music
Women's
rights.
rights.
Exactly. And all that. So we're going to keep talking to you. I've got you for the whole next hour,
All
which
right,
is rocking.
girlfriend.
And I've got AJ McKay going to call in. He's a DJ extraordinaire. At the top of the hour, we're going to hang on to, stick around for him because he's got a big event going on tonight at Derby City Gaming, which is the big new casino down on Poplar Level down there at the old Kentucky Downs.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing a big event out there, so he wants to call in, and we want to find out what he's doing.
all right.
And I got some slide the family zone. It's everyday
what I'm
people.
talking about.
LRS102.com. It's Funkadelic, Red Hot Mama. I always love that track. I was just telling Marjorie I got to tour with a guy named Razor Sharp, who I forgot I lost last year too. Another great musician. He toured with Parliament Funkadelic. George Clinton was in Bootsy's Rubber Band, and I mean, he educated me on everything that was funk and music. You know what I mean? I think he even played with like Bernie Worrell of the Talking Heads and a bunch of cats in his day. He literally was an amazing dude. So rest in peace, Razor Sharp.
Razor Sharp.
Yeah. So, Marjorie, have you had fun today?
I've had a blast.
Me too.
It was
and
an excellent day, and you're an excellent host.
Thank
and
you.
It's been a joy working with you on Chic Castle, and
I
I'm
agree.
looking forward to many more collaborations.
I agree,
girlfriend.
and I want to put you
We're
on
gonna
that
set the
solo
house on
record.
fire.
I love it. We set it on fire. We're taking it to the river.
We're going to take it to the river.
Yeah.
And
I loved how
remember
you-
that there is no greater love, no deeper love for a woman than another woman's love, because we do love unconditionally.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, like I say, I'm a big fan of this when females actually do stick together.
Yes.
And they can.
And they can.
And we're proving they can.
Yes.
Amazing things can happen.
Amazing
and we
things
hope to
will
raise thousands and thousands of dollars for charity this weekend. That's our goal, is to
Wonderful.
raise money for women's housing shelter, successful
Yes.
living, Girls Rock Louisville.
Yes.
And then hopefully we'll do this annually.
Yes.
We've already got a lot of people calling in saying they want to donate
Yes.
money to the event. So,
Wonderful.
we're thinking if they don't get it in beforehand, then we'll do it right after. We'll start fundraising for the next
Right,
one
right
and,
away.
and planning the next one.
Right away.
Yeah. Even the guy at Bowman Field yesterday was like, "Hey, we're interested in what you're doing. We might have a slot for something at the Aviation Hall.
Yes.
And this is something that I could see definitely at a Kentucky State Fair. I could see it at the Chow Wagons. I could see it as the Queens of Louisville. With That's What She Said. It could be a rotating, band of all
you
female
imagine?
everything.
That would be so hot.
That's my goal.
That would be so hot.
That's my goal. I'm on it. Trust me.
What you said.
I've already contacted
What
Triangle
she
Talent.
said.
That's right. That's what she said. That's what we named our house band.
Yeah, what she
It
said.
couldn't be a better name, could it?
Not at all. That's what she said.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
always
what she
laugh.
meant.
I was laughing with Angie yesterday from Great Day Live, the host, and she said that's the best band name ever. And I said, it's funny because I had that idea a while back. Well, there's also another female band called What She Said, or either She Said or What She Said. Because years ago I looked into naming a band that, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad we waited until now to have it for this, but. It was some band out of Atlanta in like the 80s. And then I go to LA and I'm at a party for the 4th of July with people I don't know in Los Angeles. And I meet the girl who was in that band from Atlanta. How weird was that, right?
Wow.
And she started telling me about her band, and she's out on tour. We're friends now and all this stuff. So there's a similar named band somewhere down in Atlanta, and they were back in there like a hair band, 80s all-female band, which was cool. But I do see this being something annual that could really
absolutely.
be historic for Kentucky.
Absolutely.
Because somehow we literally have created the first women's music festival in Louisville, Kentucky. And
Fabulous.
LRS 102 is going to be broadcasting live there. Lisa Mitchell, who's my soul sister, radio DJ on this station on the weekends, she's going to be our MC. Allison Cross is going to be doing our DJing and our sound.
All right.
Steph Perry's holding down the photog stuff. Amanda Grimsley's got all of our social media work going on, plus live videos. And then we've got the house band. I'm going to name drop them real quick. Donna Bivens on lead guitar, who is just an all-around badass and a
Yeah.
total pro.
Yes.
Does her homework, knows her stuff, and
Right.
I'm honored to play with her.
Yes.
Her story, also amazing. I'm going to try to get her in soon. Jessica Bullock, who was in here last Friday, is on piano. And for her age, she is amazing. That one right there. I like goo goo gaga over her every time I watch her play. I just want to watch her fingers because she's so good on piano.
Yeah.
And then Selena, who I'd met holding down the bass at Headliners a couple years ago. We did a charity benefit together, and I was like, I really want to work with her. And then here we go, and then we got
Here we
Liz
are.
Almond doing backing percussion, and then you all, the 14 Queens, man.
Oh,
It
yeah.
couldn't get any better.
Can't get any better.
And you can't
Absolutely.
not have a good time when you come to Air
Right.
Devils.
Because
So
we're having a good time.
watch what happens,
Yeah,
girls.
baby, we're going to light it up.
We're going to light it up.
girlfriend.
And by the
We're gonna
way,
light it up.
we're not playing outside. We are inside. They have
Yeah.
AC there. And we've made plans for fans, four floor fans. That's a tongue twister for the band as well as for the venue, because it is going to be a hot scorcher. They're
yes.
saying index
Oh,
of
yes.
110 this weekend in Louisville, Kentucky. So
It's going to be something now,
Yeah.
but it's going to be all good. I'm just glad that it accumulated into this fabulous event, because we've been talking for a number of years here, some of us girls behind the scene, about having an all-female band, and finally here it is.
and here it is, girlfriend. And I'm
And
glad
we got it
I
going
helped.
on. I'm glad I got to be on the first one.
Heck yeah, me too. It's the
Yeah.
first annual.
Yeah, I
one
got
of
to be
many.
on the first one.
And so I want to remind everybody, it is going to be a benefit, and $10 at the door. It's all donated to charity. Plus, we're going to give my girl Beverly McClellan a special tribute.
Wonderful.
We're going to play some of her music. I'm I'm going to release some of her tracks that have never been released before there.
Wonderful.
And then we'll release them online. So it's going to be an all-day event, and we've got everything from country to R&B to soul to jazz to blues to rock and roll to literally, and I might even do a little hip-hoppy rap thingy in there.
I'm the greatest great granny coming at you strong.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to write that track. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, Marjorie, it's been such a blast today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on Jyneration, broadcasting at LRS102.com, The Walrus, and we will check in live with you soon, and I will see you on Sunday, sister.
All right, sister. I
All right,
appreciate you.
you take
Thank you.
care. All right, tune in tomorrow as I host Stephen O'Reilly, drummer extraordinaire, and we'll also have a call in from another She Castle queen, Lenny Prince. Tune in tomorrow 2 to 4 on Jyneration Nation, and as always, y'all, keep it groovy.
Keep it groovy.